Recording in progress.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Losi.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Trent.
Here.
Mayor Long.
Here. Thank you, Sienna. Our next item is oral comments from the public. At this time, you have 3 minutes to address the council on anything that is not on the agenda. And I believe we have someone on Zoom that would like to speak, so we'll take them first. Sienna.
Yuri, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm an outreach analyst at the Department of Insurance, and I'm happy to be with you today and update you on the progress that we have been making on your behalf. It's a wildfire season, and so I want to touch bases on that. Safer from Wildfire Framework. It's an interagency partnership between Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara and the Emergency Response and Readiness Agencies and Governor Newsom's administration. So it is our purpose the purpose is to protect lives, homes, and business by reducing wildfire risk. So we have been working with OES, CAL FIRE, the Governor's Office of Planning and Research, and the California Public Utilities. So we are using, Commissioner is using every tool available to improve insurance for our communities. So it's a ground-up approach for wildfire resilience and has 3 layers of protection. We call it SFW 1, 2, 3. Plan 1 is protect the structure, such as making sure your roof and vents are up to code. 2 is making sure that immediate surroundings, such as brush too close to your home, or there are not that many not flammable items stored under your deck, is our number 2. And finally, we involve the entire community to prevent wildfire from catching and spreading to other homes and businesses in the neighborhood. This includes enhanced infrastructure and programs like Firewise Community. So good news is that a few weeks ago, Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara submitted his insurance pricing regulations to the California Office of Administrative Law that would recognize and reward wildfire safety and mitigation efforts made by homeowners and businesses. This regulation is first in the nation, requiring insurance companies to provide discount to consumers under the Safer from Wildfire Framework. We are hoping that the insurance once this passed, the insurance companies, one of those giving discounts, will reach out to us. You can check the insurance companies that give discounts by going on our website also. Each insurance company will then submit their plans, and we are hoping that this whole process will be in place by January 2023. And honestly, I just want to be here to remind you that I am your outreach analyst, and I am, here to available for any of your constituents who needs any help. And our website is there, insurance.ca.gov, and we help each consumer step by step if they need our help. Our callback time is just 2 minutes, and we have other programs. So just wanted to present and be here for you that if you need any help from us. Thank you so much for your time.
Seeing no other public comments, we'll close public comment and move on to our consent calendar. We have 7 items tonight. City Council minutes, report of disbursements, authorization for the city manager to continue teleconference public meetings for city council and all city committees, commissions, and boards, award of an annual paving contract, striping contract, concrete contract, and approval of professional services contract task order for the water tank coating project attachments. Anyone wish to pull anything? All right.
Move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. All in favor? Aye. All right, our city council business, we have to authorize the city manager to negotiate a contract with Watson Well for the Well 5B project, resolution 2022-30. Merritt?
Thank you, Mayor Long. Our Public Works Director, Brendan Bird, couldn't be here tonight, so I'm going to provide the staff report for him, but Brendan has been working on this project and getting the new well up to speed. So just in summary, in February 2022, the city completed the installation of a new well to replace the existing well 5, which was starting to drop off in capacity and diminish its performance. After the installation of the well was complete, water samples from the new well indicated that all the parameters were normal and consistent with the city's existing wells, except for it was had higher than normal manganese concentrations. And so what staff determined needed to be done, working with our consultants who helped with the development of the well, is to do more pump testing and sampling regimes to determine some alternatives for how the city can move forward to bring the new well into service and get the manganese concentrations under control. In order to do that, the city will need to contract with a specialized well drilling contractor that has the equipment and expertise of developing a large-scale well such as the replacement well 5. And there's a very short amount of time. We want to get this well back online, and so the city is asking for the council to approve an exception to bidding per the Fortuna Municipal Code, Section 2.50.07D. In advance of anticipating council's approval to do this, we did ask for proposals from 4 well contractors to do the work, and those results are included in the staff report and range from $32,000 to $53,000, with 2 well drillers declining to bid on the work. And really it's a pretty small job, and trying to find somebody to do this job in short order for a relatively small amount of work is difficult. So staff is recommending that Watson Well, who provided lowest proposal for doing the work that's necessary, be awarded the contract. And there's a resolution attached to the staff report as attachment A that has the findings necessary to be able to dispense with the formal public bidding. Watson Well has indicated that they'd be willing to mobilize to the site immediately after approval and begin the finalization of the pumping and well development that would need to be done by the end of October. And then ongoing work would have to be done under a separate contract if there are modifications to the well that would need to happen, or any treatment processes that need to be added. This is part of a larger project, so the amount being requested for this portion of the project is $32,000 of $200,000. That's remaining to be budgeted and will be funded from Water Reserve Fund 510. So what staff is looking for is a motion to approve Resolution 2022-30 and authorizing the city manager to negotiate a contract with Watson Well Drilling for the Well 5B project for a total contract value not to exceed $32,050. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Merritt. Any questions from the council?
Just a comment, kind of. I'm hope that either, I don't know if we just need to go shallower or move to a different area on the well field, but so that we don't have this issue of the manganese again.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You know, this well that was developed is significantly deeper, and it draws water from the existing depth where most of our wells are, which currently don't have an issue of the higher manganese, and it also taps a deeper aquifer. And so that's one of the things that we're going to try to determine is, you know, where's the higher manganese concentrations coming from? You know, can it be pumped and processed so maybe those can be eliminated and we can keep the connections to both aquifers, or can we modify that well casing? So a little more work to be done, and so really that's what this work is intended to do, is to answer those questions and then to decide how we move forward. But there's a number of wells in close proximity that we don't have those higher than normal concentrations, and they're all, as you know, Councilmember Johnson, they're on a pretty small footprint, and you know they're all right next to each other, so it's a little bit strange. So we're hopeful that by this additional development we can eliminate some of those problems and get this well online.
Yeah, I don't recall this issue any other prior time.
Yeah.
So
We'll see. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Just one, Watson was the contractor initially too?
No, it was, I don't recall who it was, but it was not, I don't believe it was Watson. I think it was a different contractor. I don't recall who that was.
Okay. And
Chris,
do we-
do you recall? No. No, okay. I can get that information and give it back to you. I don't believe it was Watson. I think we're looking for Watson to come in on this contract, but they were not the original driller.
And Fish and Rich, they declined, is it primarily because it was such a small job, or?
I think well drillers are busy, and yeah, it's a small amount of work, and so it's not worth it for some folks to get involved with, especially if they're busy.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone from the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comment.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2022-30 and read by title only, and authorize the city manager to negotiate a contract with Watson Wells for Well 5B project for a total contract value not to exceed $32,050, and read by title only.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Sienna?
Resolution 2022-30, a resolution of the Council of the City of Fortuna approving a contract for the Well B5 project with Watson Well. Councilmember Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Losi?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Trent?
Yes.
Mayor Long?
Yes. Thank you. Our next item is our city manager's report.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Long. So first, I just wanted to review the upcoming council meetings, our upcoming meeting schedule. Our next regular council meeting will be on Monday, October 17th at 6:00 p.m. And then on November 7th, just prior to our regular council meeting at 6, we'll also have a special workshop, which I wanted to review some of the planning priorities that staff have been working on, and just go over those and give the council a chance to reassess, what those priorities are. Our next planning commission meeting will be on October 11th at 6:00 p.m. and our next Measure E meeting will be on December 20th. It's going to be Measure E is on December 20th at 5:30 p.m. And then our next Roner Community Recreation and Park District meeting will be on this Wednesday, October 5th at 2:30 p.m. And so that'll be a pretty, there'll be quite a bit at that Roner Community Recreation and Park District meeting. We'll be presenting the results, the preliminary results of this assessment benefit calculation, and then discussing some of the financial items related to the development of the pool. So that should be an interesting meeting. I just had a few items that I wanted to report on that I've been working on lately. As you have maybe have seen in the press, there's been a number of newspaper articles related to the PG&E issue and the potential lack of service. And so I've been working through Senator McGuire's office, and we've been providing to PG&E an estimate of, really an assessment of what our short-term projects are, both residential and commercial projects, as well as public projects. So we're providing that information, and our hope is that PG&E can come back with a plan and share that with us, develop a plan and give us an assessment of which businesses they can serve, and, and what their timeline will be. And so again, we're following the leadership of Senator McGuire, and he's doing a great job of really pushing and getting some results, and really not taking, just what the initial response was at face value. And so we have a staff level meeting on October 7th to really discuss the information and check in, and then we expect to have PG&E come back to us with a plan on October 24th. So we'll continue to report back to the council and what our progress is there. I attended a joint meeting of the Humboldt Waste Management Authority and the local solid waste task force, and the topic of discussion was the SB 1383 and the organic mandates, and really how the county is going to approach solving that problem. And one of the first things to diverting that organic waste is a place where can you take that to once you collect it. And so the HWMA board voted to convert their existing recycling tipping floor to an organic recycling collection, but there's a lot of steps they'll have to take, and our consultant who was working on a roadmap for compliance for the region for SB 1383 presented. So we talked through the various aspects of SB 1383 compliance, and really what some of the challenges would be, and then what some of the opportunities are. But it's my feeling that in the long term, it's going to be best for the city to work with the region and try to solve to come up with solutions, working together with the region. So I expect that at some point in the future that we'll have to commit to working with HWMA, identifying where funding will come from, and enter into some type of an MOU with Humboldt Waste Management Authority. So ongoing work there. There's still a lot to figure out, but I'll be bringing some items back related to that in the near future. We also held a stakeholder meeting to discuss the specific plan development for the former Palco Mill site. And we worked with our consultant team and our planning staff here at the city to present to the most affected property owners in close proximity to the mill site, what our draft specific plan would include in it. And we got some really great comments from the interested parties that, near that site. And so we're actually in the process of kind of modifying our specific plan to take into account some of the comments that we had. And then our next step will be to start having some public meetings so the public can weigh in on what's happening with that specific plan and what the city's draft is. So I'm very optimistic about that, with the exception of the potential for not having power as soon as we would like to have it there. So we'll continue to follow up, but this is a long-term effort that we'll see come into fruition in the near future. Another item that I had is, we've been having some problems associated with our remote facilities, River Lodge, parks. Currently, they're communicating with the city server via wireless connections, and so we've had those crash at different times, and we have slow connectivity at some of our facilities. So we're just starting to explore the idea of connecting fiber to some of our remote sites to be able to have better connectivity. It's going to be important as we move forward. We're implementing new park software right now for reservations, signing up for teams, reserving the River Lodge and Monday Club. So it's important that we have, if we're going to be putting more IT demands on the computers at those remote facilities, that we have the ability for them to communicate and connect to the city server and not have experience delays or breakdowns. So there's no cost to the city right now. AT&T is in the process of doing some of the engineering and estimating what it would take to get those facilities connected. And so I'm working with our human resources director, IT manager, city clerk, and our consultant at NILEX to get an idea of what it would take. But it's something that's needed and that we're looking for improving how the city functions.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Sure.
Will that also increase the capability for events to be able to use
Yes.
that for ticketing?
And then can we offer, and then will we have the ability to offer, Wi-Fi at maybe our parks too? One of the things we're looking at is, can we offer, should we add connectivity at Newburgh Park as well, so we could use it for events there? So yes, absolutely. And that is one of the limitations. There's just not the bandwidth to move the amount of data that we need at those remote facilities right now. So it'll open up a lot of opportunities to be able to do different things, whether it's, for events at Roner Park or Newburgh Park or even the River Lodge. So we're excited about that.
Good, thank you.
Yeah. And then another project that has come to the council in a number of ways is the Vancil Reservoir Improvement Project. I've been heading up the portion of the work that includes the removal of the hazard trees around the reservoir and some of the nearby residences. And so we, as the council knows, we accepted the bid for to purchase the timber. And then we also recently bid the licensed timber operations, and we didn't have anybody respond the first time. And so we put it out again, and we expect to open up bids on Thursday, and we hope to have a licensed timber operator to be able to start that work. And because it's an exemption, they should still be able to get it done this year. So our hope is that we will see that work start happening in October. So a pretty short timeline. And then also along the same lines, we'll be opening bids for the Roner Park basketball improvement project. So we're very excited to get that one underway. And although we probably won't be able to put the new acrylic surfacing down, in the wintertime, we're probably going to be stuck, but we should be able to get a lot of the concrete work and paving and other site work done before that. So that's one we're really excited to see come to fruition. And then I saw that the chamber is hosting a candidate forum at the Monday Club at 5:30 this Wednesday. So if anybody wants to attend and meet some of our prospective council members and ask questions, that'll be a good opportunity for the public to do that. And then lastly, I just wanted to have our police chief say a few words. There was a threat to the school and a potential threat last week on Thursday, and I really wanted our chief just to kind of give the council an idea of what happened. We had a very rapid response. Our police have been working very well with our school district, and they've been working on this, and there's a situation that there was a potential threat, and I just wanted our chief to give you an idea of what we did in our response, and then also, what opportunities we might have to learn and even have a better response next time. So
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Mayor Long, Honorable City Council. So, as was just stated, PD did respond to a credible threat last Thursday, September 29th, and I basically wanted to give just a quick briefing, and then I can answer some questions, some I can't. It is still an ongoing investigation. Essentially, the threat we received was social media based. The person who posted that message was taken into custody a mere 4 hours after we received the initial report. So a very quick and diligent investigation on behalf of our detectives and our school resource officer here at the department. We were able to solidify that case through search warrants and capturing digital data and evidence that, essentially we're able to prove that the person posted the message. It was the language that was used in the threat was, a little vague, but it was strong enough to cause a credible concern on the campus. And so, seconds after we received the call, we had line staff to command personnel on the campus. They were just a couple streets over, actually attending another event. So, very rapid response. And by the time they arrived on campus, the school officials and the administration essentially already had a hard lockdown. So the students were locked in place in interior buildings throughout the campus for their safety. Very appreciative for the support that we got from allied agencies. We had the Sheriff's Office, Highway Patrol, Rio Dell, Ferndale PD, CAL FIRE, and I'm sure some other agencies I'm not naming here tonight, respond and assist. And, it's really amazing to see the transformation over the last 2 years. We've really taken the culture in the police department and we've put a strong emphasis on training and that collaborative, communicative type of culture with our allied agencies. And so what we got from our allied agencies was nothing short of a purposeful response with enough resources that we could, work through our processes, which our two main initiatives there were overall safety to the students in the campus and then the investigative portion, which I talked about earlier. So again, I'm just very pleased and proud of our personnel and the allied agencies that work together to quickly and efficiently address the threat at the school. We had, like I said, a person in custody about 4 hours after we received it, and we're able to transform through the processing of the campus and the classrooms into an evacuation of the students so they could be reunited with their families. So, we want to continue to work purposefully in these type of situations with little to no drag time in addressing any credible threat that exists. What I think the CM was leading into is we've really created kind of a habit or a pattern, if you will, of taking some of these real live incidences that we are dispatched to or responding to and, including them into our quarterly ICS trainings where we're able to, kind of reinvent the incident and work through it with other outcomes. So, what that looks like is we may give it a different outcome than what the outcome in real life was to make it more challenging and to train up our personnel to be able to respond in a myriad of ways. So, again, just very pleased with the response. I happened to be out of town at the time that we received that call, and I couldn't be prouder. So, if there's any questions, I would be glad to answer them.
So was there just one person involved, the one suspect that you took into custody? That was it? Everything's
So,
sure?
yeah, so that's part of the ongoing investigation is we believe that there was additional conspirators that assisted with kind of a continuation, if you will, of the message. So it did originate on social media, but there was, if you're familiar with the Apple iPhone function, AirDrop, it was reposted using the AirDrop function on campus or close to it.
Okay.
Has there been a debrief with allied agencies or?
So, yeah, it's an excellent question. We've already conducted a debriefing with school officials from Fortuna High School. We have a joint agency, it's law enforcement only debriefing that is scheduled for later in the week. And we've already invited the Sheriff's Office, CHP, the allied agencies that assisted to be a part of that.
Chief, some people don't know what debriefing is. Could you explain what that is?
Absolutely. So debriefing is just kind of a fancy term for getting everybody that was involved in an incident together to talk about how the incident evolved from each person's perspective. And what we found in the law enforcement community is that, through doing that, we can learn ways to improve future responses or methodologies in which we respond to major incidents.
Thank you.
And once again, this shows the value of building relationships and working collaboratively with the other agencies. And I remember seeing before where they would go into the old building that is now Creations and use that as a canine training, send somebody in there and have them hide and then have them find them, search them out, stuff like that. And building that relationship, coordination, and then it came to time to put it into practice, and it worked.
Absolutely, and it is very much a two-way street. So, when our allied agencies need assistance, it's my practice and something that we talk about quite a bit throughout the Fortuna Police Department is we are normally the first or try to be the first agency to submit resources to our partner agencies, and we see that reciprocated.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thanks. So that concludes my staff report, and I really just wanted to point that out. I'm really pleased about a couple of things with the response from our police department, the response from the school, the communication between those, those two entities, as well as the response we're getting from the rest of the law enforcement community. And, fortunately, this, didn't end up being a threat that actually turned into something. And, if we can train and make our response better, really that's the goal here. And I'm pleased that our chief and school and the other agencies are really taking this seriously and trying to limit the exposure of our school and the safety of our students. So thanks, Chief Day, for presenting that. So that concludes my staff report. I think we have a public comment. When you get to public comment on the city manager's report, I think Supervisor Bushnell wanted to make a comment.
Just real quick, staying within the realm of law enforcement, could you give a quick update on the pod?
Yeah, so we had the draft plan submitted to the city from our consultant. We made a number of comments. So they were reviewing those comments at final back check for issuance of a building permit. So our hope is that that back check will be completed this week, and any further comments can be identified or a building permit issued so we can put the project out to bid. And the one last step that we have prior to putting out to bid is just preparing the front end documents. Our city engineer, public works director will be putting those together, and then really we just have to make sure we have the completeness level that we need to have the confidence to be able to put that out to bid. So we're working through it. We're very close, and I expect to be through that review this week, and I'd be happy to let you know if there's any comments or things we see outstanding that need to be addressed.
Okay, and you think maybe it'll go out to bid this month?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, Sienna, we have a public comment.
Sorry, Supervisor Bushnell, you can go ahead. You have a public comment.
Oh, thanks. Hi, everybody. It's Michelle. I just wanted to make public comment on Merritt's report to Chief Day. I happened to be in Fortuna on Thursday when the incident happened, and I commend your department and everybody that was involved. People, reach out to me, I'm sure, as to the city council, and nothing is scarier to not know whether your children are safe or not. So I just really want to say good job, great job, and that's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle. All right, moving on to future agenda items. Do we have anything that we haven't discussed in the past to add? All right, seeing none. In the spirit of picking on Merritt all night, he used up all of our time. We were supposed to be done by 6:30, so Councilmember Mike Johnson, you're up.
Okay, thank you. I'll be quick. I was able to attend a workshop on accessible meetings, which was interesting and useful. It was put on by HCOG and hosted at Eureka City Hall. Talked about not just the things we think of for accessible, but talked about hearing needs, sight needs, as well as mobility needs. And there's some videos that were sent out later following that I have yet to watch. But it was a useful meeting, a workshop, so I
What was
appreciate
that?
it.
What- Through who? Like,
It was hosted at Eureka City Hall, but it was put on by HCOG. They gathered the speaker and the materials, and they coordinated it.
nice.
So it was I liked it. While Councilmember Losi was out of town enjoying the sea and the sand, I attended RCEA meeting in his stead, and a couple of things that came out of it that were interesting. They got a grant for EV chargers, and they're slated to put 2 at RMH and 2 at Roner Park, assuming that the power is available. But it's a CEC grant with a cash match by RCEA. So that was useful. And then there's also, I saw where there's going to be 2 solar projects in Humboldt County, one down in I think it was off of Foster, down on the Arcata Bottoms, and one up towards Glendale with solar arrays, and they had a vote on whether the power and the way it's being generated met the principles that RCEA uses for purchasing power, and accepted it. And that way the property or the developer shows that there is interest, and they have a buyer for the power, and it can move forward. So that was interesting also. There wasn't a large agenda. Mike can tell you he's seen some pretty good sized meetings. This was not one of those. And finally, on Saturday, I got to drive the People Mover for Apple Harvest, and it was actually a pretty well attended event. And I went by earlier in the morning, and I was kind of worried that it wasn't going to take off, but by the afternoon, it was wall-to-wall people. You could not drive down 12th Street safely faster than about 15 miles an hour because of the people walking down in the roadway. But it was great. It was a much-needed event. The fire department was busy with their demonstration. Downtown was busy. Clendenin's was really busy. Had a line from the front of their shop all the way around to the on-ramp at 12th and 101. So that was a great time. I enjoyed that. I already told I don't know what you want to call him. He said that he wanted to be a tour guide on the Jungle Cruise, so he was in the back. And he fulfilled that. The only one that might do it better would be Chris. I might enlist him next year. But anyways, we already volunteered for next year. So that's my report for this week. So thank you.
Good job. Thanks, Mike. The other Mike.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to add my congratulations to the police department for a job well done with that high school incident. From what I understand, everything went really well, so good job. In the interest of brevity, and the fact that I haven't had any meetings since our meeting that I attended lastly about a month ago, I have nothing more.
Thanks, Mike. Tammy.
Okay, from the Humboldt Transit Authority, within 2 months, the buses will be able or have the capability to take credit cards, which should increase ridership. And the big thing about this is we will be able to connect with Mendocino County and Lake County. And so you'll actually be able to get on the transit here and make a couple switches and be able to get all the way to Santa Rosa or Lake County, going through, and they're gonna have a promotion. It's only gonna cost you $1 a ride. So each connection will only cost $1, I think, for like the first year. So people will be able to transfer out of the county and get different places by going from county to county to the transits, and they'll all be set up so where one drops you off and one there's to pick you up. So that's pretty exciting. And then we had another big weekend last weekend, Apple Harvest, and then the high school rodeo was Friday and Saturday, and the 4-H Lamb barbecue was Sunday. So again, our city employees pulled it off and did an excellent job with all of these events, and Fortuna has the best events in the county. So We have great employees.
as well as working soccer. I saw them at the soccer fields too on Saturday, so they were all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah. That it?
Yep, that's it.
All right, the big thing these days seems to be PG&E. There was a really good article today in the Redheaded Black Belt, is that what it's called? Kind of, if you read that, it kind of fill you in and give you all the scoop. As we know today, really pleased with the participation and the involvement of Assemblymember Wood and Senator McGuire. They really are concerned and really are stepping it up and stepping in to see what can be done, so I really appreciate them. I was out of town and Jeremy attended REDUC for me, but he is not here to give us a report, so we'll catch up on that next time. Had a good time at Apple Harvest like everyone else. Glad to see our events are back and going strong. And that is it. So with that, we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
We're only 8 minutes late.
Recording stop.